Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our live session today. My name is Olaumi from Team Consultancy UK. If you are just coming across our live for the very first time, this is the Study in the UK Life Clinic. It is basically where we talk about everything study in the UK, right? You want to study in the UK, but you need information or you even want to understand the process. What do I need to have? What do I need to do if I want to study in the UK? This is where you get all the information. This is where we spill the tea. Yes. So this is where we talk about anything that has to do with studying the UK. So now here at Team Consultancy UK, what do we do at Team Consultancy UK? So what we do is that we help you with your studying the UK process. So the process starting from applying to the school, yes, getting you an offer, preparing you for your pre-CAS interview, getting your CAS for you, doing your visa application. So the thing is, we handle all of this for you. So when I say handle all of this for you, I don't mean that we don't keep you updated, right? You are also in the process because as it is right now, every student should be aware of what the process is. Every student should be aware of what is going on so that you also understand what is being done for you, right? Because no agent is going to be there for your pre-CAS interview. If you are called by the UKVI for an interview, no agent is going to be there. So at the end of the day, you need to also understand what the process is. So yes, we are not just helping you to do it. You are fully involved in the process. You will understand what is being done for you, right? So this is what we do here at Team Consultancy UK. And at the end of the day, our service is completely free. So one would think that because we come here every Thursday to do this live, I mean, you must have seen our social media pages, you must have maybe seen our hearts as well. You think that people already know that our service is free, but I'm just realizing that most of you don't even know that our service is free. These past few weeks, I still get, a lot of students talking to us for the first time and then they be like, oh, so what is your service charge? So I'll know if it's something I want to do. I hope people won't chase me away with your charge. And I'm like, excuse me, we do not do that over here. Over here, our service is completely free. Nobody is going to ask you to pay a dime, right? But the only thing we need from you also is your commitment, right? We need you to be committed to us. We would not go through the stress of, applying to a school, doing all of this for you, and then it is time to commit, pay your deposit to the school and all of that, and we don't hear from you again. So we don't work with students who are just document ready. We work with students who are document ready, financially ready. They are just ready in every area to proceed. Those are the kind of students that we work with. So before you enter our DM, before you come to us, be sure, know that you are completely ready to start your process. See, it is totally fine if you just need information. I tell this to people every time. It is totally fine if you want to make inquiries, but do not commit. Do not start an application. Do not send us your document for an application when you know that your to pay deposit you're not ready, when you know that, oh, you and your sponsor, you are not on the same page yet. Some students will get their offer and then they are telling you that, oh, my sponsor pulled out last minute. Oh, I'm still looking for the money to pay my deposits. This is a huge part of your life that you must have been thinking about it for so long. You must have been planning. Important part of your planning is the finances as well. So please have all of this before you come to us. It is very, very important. So today I'm going to be talking about two categories of students, right? The number one category is the students who are still hoping to make the September intake. Now we all know that we are already at the final stage. This is like a final call. I know I've been here before to say, oh, this is my final call for September, but To be very honest, this is like this might be the last life we'll be talking about September intake and all of that. Anything after this life would have to be, oh, September intake students, have you booked your flights? Have you, settled your accommodation? Have you gotten this? Have you gotten that? So that is what we'll be doing after this life. So today is like the very, very last call for students who are still going for September intake. Now, these are the students that you have figured. So I feel like right now you don't have a lot of options because you yourself, you know that some schools are closed. Application are closed in some schools. Some schools, there are deadlines in all the schools already. Some schools, CAS deadline is like ending of July, and today is maybe 23rd of July, right? And CAS deadline is in 7 days. So you know that there are some schools, you know that you cannot meet up. But the reason why I'm doing this last call is that we still have few of our partner schools. Sorry. So we have few of our partner schools that we are sure to get an offer for you in 24 hours, right? We are sure to get an offer for you. You are ready to pay your deposit in the next 28 to 48 hours of also getting your offer. Then you have your bank statement ready. If you are that student and you are coming across this life, please enter the DM. Please book a consultation with us, come to us, and then you have to really, really act fast so that we can submit your application, get you an offer, you can proceed to pay deposit, you can do your interview. Don't worry, we prepare you for that and you are going to pass. Even in this very, very short, very short time that we have, we will prepare you for interview and you will pass your pre-CAS interview. We get your CAS for you and then we can still meet up for September intake, right? So this call is for that category of students who have everything ready. You are ready to pay your deposit and then you have your bank statement. Very, very important. You have your bank statement ready. So what people don't know is that it is not just about paying your deposit, right? After you pay deposit, that is when the work starts. So you have to submit bank statement, you have to submit a lot of things to get your cards from the school. So if you have all of that ready, or maybe you are a student who failed your pre-CAS interview and then you are thinking you can no longer meet up for September, please enter the DM. We have something for you. Provided you have your bank statement ready, provided you have another funds that you can use to pay deposit, because maybe you have paid deposit to that school. So if you are waiting for a refund, it might not work. But if you have not paid your deposit to the school, you still have your deposit. Or if you have paid your deposit, you have another funds that can be used to pay the deposit pending the time you get your refund from the school. Please enter our DM. We still have something for you, right? So these are the category of students I'm calling on for the very last time that you can still meet up for September intake. So now the second category of students is those students who have now realized that September intake is no longer an option. So now you know that, oh, maybe with the situation of things, there are some documents that you have not, gotten, money is still shaky, you can pay your deposit, but I mean, you don't have the visa application fee, IHS fee, and all of that. You have not been able to figure that part out. And then you are thinking September intake is no longer for you. Yes, still stick to this live. I'm going to be discussing about January intake because there is no rush at all. There is no rush, there is no reason to panic. If September intake is no longer realistic for you, yes, January intake is the next best option for you. So stick with me while we also discuss January intake. So something I'm also going to be talking about is that thing that many students, they don't remember, they don't talk about it, which is accommodation. So this is for the category of students who have gotten their visas approved, or you have put in your application. Don't worry, be positive, you are going to get approvals, right? Or you are still in your CAS stage waiting for your CAS to put in. So even if you are at that stage, right, or you are just, you are a September intake student that you have passed the interview, you have submitted CAS, you are in your visa stage, CAS stage, or any of those stages. This is something you have to also start thinking about. You have to also start considering, which is accommodation. So we're going to be talking about accommodation as well. So now let's get into it. I just finished talking about September intake student. Please, if you're a September intake, make sure that you have your deposit ready, you have your bank statement ready. I don't want to say you have your document, because at this stage, you cannot be thinking that, oh, I don't have one document, I have one document ready. So please have all of those ready and enter our DM. Now, let's discuss January intake. So September intake is coming to an end now. We are rounding up September intake, and then some students still don't know that, oh, after September intake, the next best intake for you is January intake. Or you think, oh, after September intake, you have to wait for the next year September. You have to wait for September 2027 to apply again. No. So January intake is another major intake offered by many UK universities, right? It allows students who couldn't make the September intake to start their courses without, waiting an entire year. Thank you very much. And I think I'm reading some comments. Thank you very much for joining. So now, you don't have to wait the entire year to join. Sorry, you don't have to wait the entire year again. It means that if you have missed out on September intake, you don't have to wait for the next September before you can apply again. This is the reason why so many universities now offer January intake as well. So now, what January intake is that it helps you plan better. So you wanted to go for September intake, but like I said from the beginning, maybe you have not gotten some document, because yes, I also have a lot of students who are still waiting to get their transcript from their schools. They've not gotten the transcript yet. Some students are waiting to get some document, and then the school is just delaying you. This is not to worry. January intake is there for you. So this allows you time to gather all those documents you have not gotten for January. And then financial planning. I have some students who, they just need a little more time to plan financially. They just need a little more time to gather funds. So January intake would also give you that time to gather funds. Now, when should you start applying for January intake? So don't think because this is July, it is still January, I don't have to start now. Remember, early start is key. Starting early is key. So now, if you are a student who have realized that you can no longer make it for September intake, please start sending in your documents for January intake. So one thing you need to know about January intake is that courses are limited in all of the schools. So some of these schools, they don't offer all the courses, right? So it means that when you come to us, we are going to take our time to look for the course you are looking for, because this is not an intake where you find the courses you want. So it means that we are going to be searching. If you want a particular course, we need to check a lot of schools to make sure that, okay, this is the course that aligns with you. Let's search for the course that you want. You see why early start is very important when you want to go for January intake. So please, if you want to go for January intake, early start is key. And right now is also the best time to start applying if you would like to go for January intake. So one thing you can do for me, if you're joining this live right now, or if you're going to be coming across this live much later, just check the comments, or check the comments. You are going to see the link to book a one-on-one session with us. So during this one-on-one session, we are going to now, go through your profile as a student, match you with the right course, and then we'll see the schools that are open for January to start applying for you. Even if the schools are not exactly opened, when you come to us, we tell you all the documents that you need to start your application for January intake, and then you can get that ready. Talking about financial planning, which is very, very important in this process. A lot of you don't even know the financial implication of wanting to study in the UK. You want to study in the UK, you have no idea tuition deposit, overall tuition, what is the visa application fee, IHS fee, just the cost implication of studying in the UK. A lot of you don't know, and this is something that would help you to plan yourself as well towards the January intake. So when you talk to us today, we are going to be taking you through all of this, explaining this to you, so it can help you make an informed decision right? It will help you plan faster. You have missed out on September intake and then you don't have to miss out on January intake as well. This is why I'm always preaching that early start is very key when you want to go for January intake. Now, what are the advantages of January intake? Because a lot of you just feel like, oh, once September is gone, I don't think every other intake is worth it. One thing you don't know is that January intake gives you time to research properly, right? The second advantage is that you can compare universities. So I told you that universities have limited courses. This will help you to now, look into a lot of universities and compare, right? Another advantage is that you can gather stronger documents. So if you have missed out on September, you don't have to just do wuru to the answer, if you know what I'm talking about. So it would help you to gather stronger documents. You can also build a better financial plan. Like I've said earlier, right? January intake will give you that time to plan financially, to properly plan financially. And then another advantage is that you get to avoid unnecessary pressure, right? For January intake, if you are starting now, everything is easy peasy. You are sending in your document, you are taking your time to research, taking your time to make a decision. You won't be pressured. You won't be pressured to do anything. You are not in a hurry to do anything. So at the end of the day, preparation is one of the biggest advantages of any intake at all, you need to prepare. So now, are there any disadvantages when it comes to January intake? Well, I've said it before. The only disadvantage I see in January intake is that some universities only admit certain programs, right? I said, you know, the universities won't have all of the programs open. So that is why students should start making inquiries instead of waiting till December, right? This is July. Next month will be August. If you come to us early now, we'll be able to search properly for you and, of course, find the course that suits you, the course that matches, your academic background. We will be able to find something for you if you start early. That is the whole point. So now the number three thing we're going to be discussing today is finding accommodation before arriving the UK. So the reason why I feel the need to discuss this very topic is because we also have a lot of our students who are now preparing to leave for the UK, and then they've been asking questions about accommodation, right? So I know that you out there also, you are probably not even thinking about accommodation because that is not crossing your mind right now. And this is actually one very important, discussion, one very important part of the whole process that needs to be discussed as well. So, I mean, I'm sure that you are asking yourself, where will I stay? Right? You are going to the UK for the very first time, especially for those of you who don't have family members, you don't have friends in the UK, and you're not thinking about accommodation. So, yeah, let's discuss accommodation. So accommodation should never be an afterthought. It should be part of your planning from the very beginning, right? It should be something you should, if you have not been thinking about it, if you're coming across this life today, I'm sure this is going to give you a nudge to start thinking about accommodation. So now let's go into the types of accommodation that we have, especially for you as an international student. So number one is the university accommodation. So there are halls of residence managed by the recommended university. So your university can have like accommodations for students that you can, get to, book when you get to your school, or even book ahead before you get to your school. So advantages of university accommodation is that they are close to campus, they are good for meeting other students, and then bills are often included, right? So in your accommodation, most of the university accommodation, the bills are included. So we also have the private student accommodation. So this kind of accommodation, they are purpose-built student residences and they are managed by private companies. So this kind of accommodation, what they offer is furnished rooms, security, shared or studio options. So for private accommodation, these are the things you get for private accommodations. So now if you are talking about private rentals as well, we have the private rentals. So some students choose to rent houses or flats, especially if they are sharing with friends, right? This may offer more flexibility, but usually requires more planning. So private rental is if you are looking to get accommodation with maybe other students, people you know that are going to the same school with you. You know, it offers flexibility, but it requires, you to plan very well. It needs proper planning. It needs meeting up with those people, then properly and carefully planning, how to go about the whole thing. So now, when should you start looking? We have talked about the different types of accommodation. Now, when should you start looking? Ideally, right, once you have put in your visa application, let me put it that way. Normally, when once you have accepted your offer, but I know that at that point you have a lot of things that a lot of things to do before you actually get to starting your visa application. So me, I would say once you put in your visa application, start thinking about accommodation, start looking, start asking questions about accommodation, right? Because waiting until you land the UK will limit your options. If you wait till you get to the UK, you are going to get very limited, options. So before you get that accommodation, these are the things you should check before you pay for any accommodation. Before you get any accommodation, look out for these things that I'm going to be mentioning. So number one is, how far is it from the university? That's the accommodation. Is transport easily available? Are utility bills included? Is the area safe? What is the contract length? And then, are there additional charges? So if okay, I'll go over it again. I mean, you can put this down so that you know that these are the things to look out for if you are looking to get an accommodation. How far is the accommodation from the university? How far is it? We are talking about proximity here, and then you know that this is very, very important. Is transport easily available? You don't want to be frustrated if transport is not easily available, right? Are utility bills included? Trust me, it is much more better if the bills are included. Then, is the area safe? You know that your safety comes first. You need to think about your safety. What is the contract length? And then, are there additional charges? So these are the things that you need to, think about. You need to put in place if you want to get an accommodation. So now, accommodation scams. Some people will be like, oh, this is the UK we are talking about. It is not possible for them to scam you. Unfortunately, scam exists, right? Accommodation scam exists. So never send money to somebody you cannot verify. Somebody you do not trust, somebody you cannot verify, never send money to them. So another thing is, use trusted accommodation providers or university recommended option. Read reviews about the accommodation, ask question, and then if something feels suspicious, pause and investigate. So this is just to tell you that because you are going to the UK, because we are talking about the UK, does not mean they cannot scam you. I feel like international students, especially Nigerians, we are smarter than this. Please make sure you are not getting scammed while you are trying to look for accommodation or while you're trying to pay for accommodation. So as we round up today's session, I want to leave you with three important things. After every session, I talk about the things I want you to take from that particular session. So number one would be that if you are aiming for September intake and you are fully prepared, don't delay any further. I said it from the beginning. You have your bank statement ready. You are ready to pay your deposit in the next 28 to 48 hours of getting your offer. Please slide into our DM. We have something for you. And you do not need to delay any further. This is the time to act. You should act right now. Number two is that if September intake is not realistic for you, right? You have seen your situation and then you don't need to pressure yourself. Don't see it as a failure. Intake is another best option for you. January intake is another best option for you. And finally, whether you are traveling in September or January, planning Planning doesn't stop after receiving your visa. You know that one. After receiving your approval, you know that planning does not stop. Think about accommodation, think about your finances, think about how you settle into your new environment, because studying abroad is not just about just getting to the UK, it's all about preparing to succeed after you arrive the UK. Preparing to succeed after you arrive to the UK. So now, maybe you have this past one week talking to students, I get some questions when we talk to the students. Most of these questions are the things that I've discussed throughout this session today. So is January intake easier than September intake? No intake is easier than the other. It's just that each intake offers different things, right? And then each intake depends on your readiness as well. Are you ready to go for September? Will you be ready for January? Are you waiting for May next year, or you are thinking about September next year? So it all depends on how ready you are as a student. Can I still get scholarships in January? Because it is January intake does not mean if the school is going to offer a particular scholarship, it will not be there. Scholarships will be there if even if you want to go for January intake. Which courses will be available for January intake? That depends on the school, right? When you come to us, we'll be able to check for you. After we have been able to match you, before we match you with the school, we will check the availability of the courses they have before recommending a school for you. Can I find accommodation before traveling? Of course you can, and it is part of the things that I've discussed already. But be sure of the accommodation you want to get. Be sure before making payments. Be sure you can verify your source before making that payment for accommodation. Once again, we are Team Consultancy UK. We are your study abroad support system. You can count on us. You can trust us, right? And then our service charge is completely free. We do not have any service charge whatsoever. It means that when you come to us, you are not paying a dime to anybody. Please be careful of the kind of agents you use out there. Apart from the fact that they are going to take your money, remember it is your document. Remember it is your name. You understand? Please, we discussed about a student that got about 10 years ban and all of that just because, the agency submitted a wrong document. So please, you have to be careful of the kind of agents you use. If you are looking to study in the UK, look no further. Here at Team Consultancy, we will help you to achieve success at the end of the day. Thank you for joining today's session with me, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you again next week.